Hello, Keshia. Keshia, are you there?
Andy, I'm here. I can hear you, but I can't see you.
Okay, wait a second.
Oh, I can see you. Wait, can you see me? Hold on. What on earth are you wearing?
What do you mean? Hang on a minute. Okay. Well, let me entertain you, Keshia. What do you think? Does it say frontman or lead guitarist?
Andy? When I said it's time to get the band back together, that's not what I meant.
Wait, who are you? Who's that?
I'm Vizia, the Queen of Viz. You like it?
I love it. But don't stop me now because we can't both be lead singers, Keshia.
What? Sure we can. In harmony.
Okay, but we're gonna need a good name. How about Medatica?
Ooh, how about Tableauvian dogs?
Or Data Cat or the Visionaires?
Yeah, I'm calling you Andy Cotgreave.
Okay, and I'm calling you Keshia Rose. Because this is Iron Viz 2021.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Hello and welcome everybody to the 2021 Iron Viz competition, the most spectacular data analytics competition in the world. Today, we will rock you.
Thousands of audience members from all over are tuning in. Hey everybody! We've got contestants coming in from all over the world, competing to be crowned this year's Iron Viz champion.
Yep, they're going to be cooking up on-screen presentations that combine analysis, design, and storytelling. Along for the ride, each contestant is accompanied by their Tableau mentor, the sous vizzers.
And judging the contestants is a trio of world-class experts, including last year's winner.
And their job is to choose who they think builds the best viz.
And so will you. Just like before, we'll be relying on you, the audience, to participate in this year's judging by voting for which contestant you think had the best presentation. So, get ready to take down that number for where to text. The deciding vote could be yours.
Today's 3 finalists were chosen from the Tableau Public Iron Viz qualifier competition. When she's not hosting Iron Viz, Keshia is a product manager here at Tableau. You can also find her at her blog, sliceofquiche.com.
And Andy spends his free time as Tableau's official evangelist, deploying podcasts like Chart Chat and If Data Could Talk.
Sorry, Keshia, did you say free time?
Mm-hmm. Oh, and I almost forgot. Andy heads up a band.
Oh, yeah, I do, yeah.
What kind of music does your band play?
There's only one type, Keshia. Metal.
Perfect. And what's it called?
Thin Vizzy.
Nice. Ooh, check this out. We actually have a video of Andy performing for a sold-out crowd outside his home near Oxford. How cool.
Yeah, that was my best gig right there. As you saw, the audience was moved.
So, if you haven't guessed already, this year's competition is centered around music.
Check this out. This year, Chartmetric have provided a deep data set for the competition. Nearly 200 million records spanning several years, global in scope. The data set includes artist popularity, metadata, YouTube listening data, as well as loads of Shazam history. This year, each contestant will have 20 minutes to build their viz.
And the winner receives this trophy.
How come you got a prop? I get to say they also get $10,000. But no props for Andy, apparently.
I'm sorry, did you hear me? A trophy!
It's cool! They also get $5,000. Nothing here. And that goes to the charity of their choice. Without further ado, let's bring on the contestants. Hello, Data Rockstars!
First up, from Tamil Nadu in India, we have Pradeep Kumar G. Give it up, everybody! A 6-time entrant, Pradeep works as a senior Tableau consultant for BNX, and he claims baking cookies and muffins is his superpower.
Hey everyone! Tamil Nadu's ancient culture is one of the most glorious ones to have existed in the world's history, dating back more than 2000 years. In my free time, I love to bake chocolate muffins. Can you smell these? Of course you can't. But if you could, you would agree they are the best muffins in the world. I'm thrilled to be selected as one of the Viz finalists, 2019 Vizzers Award for Biggest Growth. I'm proud to represent India and APAC region. எல்லோருக்கும் வணக்கம். ஒரு தமிழனா இருந்த ஐன்வெஸ்ட்ல ஃபைனல்ஸ் வந்தது எனக்கு ரொம்ப சந்தோஷமா இருக்கு. எல்லாரும் கண்டிப்பா எனக்கு சப்போர்ட் பண்ணுங்க.
And now, from Carlsbad, California, let's give it up for Lisa Trescott. Lisa holds a master's in psychological research, so she'll be a force to reckon with, even though she only joined the Tableau community in March this year. She is a research analyst at the Mira Costa College, where she studies student data and helps the college make critical decisions benefiting the community. Her superpower is costuming.
Hi, my name is Lisa Trescott, and I live with my husband and our 2 cats.
Living in Southern California is pretty nice, because 12 months out of the year you get this. You'd think I would have more of a tan.
So this is where the Tableau magic happens. I've got all your staples. I've got your Tableau books. I got your data detective hat. I like to put this on when I'm researching data anomalies. Pretty much everything you need on a desk.
Since we don't have the theatrics of the live competition this year, I've been trying to add a little bit of flair to my home office while I do my practice sessions. There's some cool trails by my house, so after spending all day on the computer, I really like to get out and take a nice walk.
And last, but definitely not least, right there with Andy in the UK, let's hear some noise for Sam Parsons. Everybody! Sam hails from Wiltshire, where he works as a senior analytics consultant for Tableau Gold partner BizStory. He's competed 3 times, and he happens to be one of the current Tableau Zen Masters, so it'll be interesting to see what he brings to the table today.
Hi, I'm Sam. Welcome to rural England. Lovely little area around here, lots of fields to walk the dog in. This is Shakespeare, our St. Bedoodle pup. Good boy. I found a lot of solutions to my data vision problems walking around with the dog. I started using Tableau in 2018. I fell in love with it. I have a design background and Tableau really just speaks to that creative side of me.
Hello, you are the best dad! Go on, Dad, you can do it! Go! Good luck! Hope you have fun!
Hello, contestants. We are hoping you're ready and not feeling under pressure.
Because the stakes are high. Now, let's get ready to meet the sous vizzers.
They have been along for the journey, each one assigned to a contestant. They advise and support during the build process, and then here in the final, they interpret the final stages so that we can follow along. Here they are from all around the world. It's the sous vizzers.
She's a solution engineer from Singapore working on Team Pradeep. She joined Tableau in 2018. Give it up for Tanushree Rohera.
Hi, I'm Tanushree from the sunny city of Singapore. And obviously, I'm super proud because he's the first representative from Asia Pacific and he happens to be from the same home country as me. This is where I work, right next to Indonesia. I like to read. I like to organize. And I love to organize what I read. Pradeep, standing for Compass Family Services, he really wanted to support this organization because it tackles homelessness and he really believes making sure that everyone has a roof over their head. I'm super excited to be on Team Pradeep. Go Team Pradeep!
Sous viz on Team Lisa is none other than Ester Aller. She's a senior analyst for Tableau's customer solutions and, we're told, a serious crochet fiend.
Hi, I'm Ester Aller. I've been a Tableau employee for 6.5 years.
One of my hobbies is I like to crochet.
Welcome to my workstation.
Yeah, oh, hi, yes. You're a good puppy.
This used to be my sewing desk, as you can tell from the sewing supplies I still have next to me. But now it's where I get all my work done.
Lisa is playing for Policy Link, which is a great organization that is advancing racial and economic equity. Go Team Lisa!
Now let's meet our final sous vizzer coming to us from London, working alongside Sam. Let's give a roaring round of applause for Laura Granek.
My name is Laura. I'm originally from Amsterdam and I moved to London to do my master's in economics. And after that, I got a job at Tableau.
I got the London Eye, just over there. And as a true Dutch person, I also love to cycle around. So I got my bike.
As well, and it's pretty pleased to be on his journey together. Team Sam is playing for the Nature Conservancy. It's a charity that focuses mostly on the environment, making sure that it's not only there for us, but other people around us in the world, and most importantly also for the generations after us. Team Sam is the one and only rock on.
Now it's time to meet the judges. Jock McKinley, Taha Ibrahimi, and Iron Viz 2020 champion, Christian Felix. Okay, just so everyone's clear on how this works, we're gonna go through the rules and expectations.
Our contestants will be judged on 3 areas: analysis, design, and storytelling.
And each contestant can win a total of up to 100 points. And of course, the contestant with the most points wins.
That's right. The judges allocate 90 of those points. The last 10 points are up to the audience. Yes, you can vote for your favorite too.
That's right. And of course, we want to know what you're thinking during this whole competition. So post on Twitter, or even better, shoot a selfie of yourself watching and post it on Instagram. Make sure to use #IronViz.
Now, contestants, you have 20 minutes to get your builds done. Tie your mother down. Here we go. 5,
4,
3,
2,
1.
And they're off.
All right, Tanu, what did Pradeep just do?
So you kind of see Pradeep's first starting to build out his preferences file. This was super important to him because he is quite a person for colors, and he wanted to have a default palette that he could use later.
That's great. For those that don't know, the preferences file is a way you can store custom color palettes for use every time you open Tableau. So nice to see him using that.
That was one of his other optimization techniques to kind of get the image. He first had a text box in mind, but then that took too long. So then he kind of put the first title, which you will see in his image. In fact, he has no text boxes in his dashboards. You'll see that.
So I see we have a logarithmic scale for what appears to be rank of artists. Esther, what can you? Is that a good choice?
Yeah, so the rank goes from 1, which is obviously the best, to like, what is that, 1 million? So we're dealing with a huge difference between artists, and if we want to be able to compare them, we need that logarithmic scale to see them all at once. Otherwise, most of them would just be like a flat line at the bottom.
Looks like we're narrowing in on 3 artists in particular. Interesting way to look at this data.
Oh, I didn't do that.
One of the interesting things you'll see on this viz and on other vizzes is that a lot of her marks are in white, which is an interesting challenge that she's given herself, having to build these vizzes without being able to see what she's making.
I assume, therefore, this is going to be a dark dashboard, and the darkness will be built into the dashboard towards the end of the build. Is that right?
Exactly.
Some interesting parameters being set up here. I'm curious why some are fully labeled or some would just get a letter. Curious to see how that'll be used in the final product.
This is why I love Iron Viz. We get, there's a feature like parameters about choosing data, and then advanced users can find ways to take that power and hack it to do something else. It's really great to see the power they bring in.
So most of the calculations for this build have actually been done in prep, which is saving a lot of time and also means that they don't have to be done on the spot. They're just a couple that he's bringing in now that he will use. And another interesting thing, which you can use in your day-to-day build as well, is that has he named all the variables so he knows exactly which ones to drag and drop.
And I see we're using default formatting. This is a great way to set up formatting before you do all your work. Do it once, save some time. And why not write the hex code? That's a quick way to zoom in on the specific color. Don't forget, everybody, once the build and the presentations are over, that's when you get the chance to text in your vote for the Your Viz champion. All right, let's switch over to Pradeep and see what he's been doing.
Taha, I'm really curious to see what types of things you look for when you're judging these vizzes.
I'm definitely looking for the story. Out of all the judges, I'm very interested in, is there a clear question being asked? Is there an interesting insight being revealed? How are they telling the narrative? Is it clear to anyone who looks at this viz what the story is?
Christian, I see your face. What are you thinking about?
Well, we clearly have some data densification going on. I'm curious to see what he's doing with these shapes, these lines, what they're going to be leading up to. It's just some amazingly quick and creative work here.
Could he be making a dandelion chart? Is that what that is?
The data set is called Dandelion Chart. It could be. I've always wanted to run a competition with the community to see who can just invent a chart type, partly for an interesting, insightful new chart type, but for also to find out what the most pun-related names that vaguely look like the chart at hand. So let us know on social media if you think that's a good idea or not.
All right, things are looking great so far, but I want to see where Lisa's at. Let's go check in with her.
I can't wait. It looks like there's going to be some kind of animation in here. Traditionally, that's been really exciting to see in an Iron Viz viz.
I appreciate how with the map, she's removing the map options because I don't believe her intention is to allow the user to zoom and scroll. So because that's not what she's trying to allow the user to do, she's just removing them altogether so there's no inadvertent zooming and scrolling with the maps.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just blinked out for a minute.
Oh, wow.
Ooh. Ooh. So pretty.
Indeed. This is why I love watching the builds. It's a whole part of it.
Now, notice that she's splitting out each of these worksheets so that there's one worksheet per artist, as opposed to keeping them all overlaid, which I think is a very interesting choice.
Now, let's move to Sam, see what progress he's made over the last few minutes.
What is going on here?
I don't know. I mean, I'm seeing heavy axis lines, which would not be my first choice. So what does he have in mind?
It's interesting here. The axis is kind of flipped here. The axis with the 0 at the top.
Whoa.
Oh, wow.
Got a lot going on here.
Whoa.
Yeah, he's reversed the axis. I'm assuming what we're going to see is rank over time here. And there's the pink reference line. I think he's got the date, the time component on the x-axis.
Ah, I get it. So it might be like the top 100 at the top, and that's why there's more concentrated there.
Yeah, I think that's where you see the people that are at the top tend to stay at the top. But I think you have those ones that are rising from the bottom all the way to the top. You may use those to tell some sort of story there in terms of a rise to fame.
Oh, you can see one line kind of all the way through. That's really cool.
Now that color choice doesn't seem to pop out as much, certainly not as much as the pink does. So I wonder what he's doing with his color choice here.
My guess is we're going to get a dark background with those sort of lighter black lines that will fade into the background with that blue line sort of popping out.
Yeah, good point. Yeah.
Let's check back in with Pradeep and see how it's going.
I noticed Pradeep is unticking the include command buttons option there on the tooltip. That's useful when you get to the publication phase of your visualization because it removes the slightly confusing keep only and exclude buttons, which non-expert users might not realize how to get out of the situation if they click it by mistake. That's a nice little touch.
And one thing I noticed earlier, but I'd like to call out, I like that Pradeep is using pronouns here versus terms like male, female. I really like that he's using that designation to group these different artists together.
Yeah, I think that was something we actually had been looking at quite closely. The dataset had both gender and pronouns, but we'd done a bit of research. Actually, the organizing team also pointed us towards certain resources. We realized that there has been a move towards pronouns in the music industry, and that's definitely something he wanted to include, along with looking at it from a band's type. So what you see here is him actually going back to the point of him being super particular about design. He's actually just using a reference line so that those labels look much clearer. It's a trick that I learned from him. He's just kind of creating a mock reference line just so that those labels of the top artist kind of pop out.
That's a fantastic hack. I've tried to do that in the past, but I've never actually realized you could just do it with the percent distribution line and pump that up to over 100%. That's genius.
Okay, guys, we're halfway through. Only 10 minutes left. Just 10 minutes. Now remember, as you guys are watching the build, if you've got a favorite, don't forget to look out for that number to text in your vote later on in the show.
Didn't spell that right, but that doesn't matter.
Another one of these all-white vizzes where she just has to hope that it's actually right.
I hope we don't get to 19 minutes and 45 seconds and discover that the marks are incorrect and we have to start that sheet again. I would not want to be in her shoes if that happens.
Here's the two calculations that she makes in the workbook. Most of her calculations she's making in prep, but one involves a parameter and one involves a table calculation, so she has to make those in Tableau Desktop. This was a kind of a wild card moment where size is a little bit loose. You can't type in the numbers for size, and so she has to hope she drags it the exact same amount every time.
Wow, we're seeing some great stuff here already. Don't forget to keep an eye out and make sure you jot down that number to text in your vote. Oh, yes, again with that light text. Hard to see while you're building. A little tricky.
I love this part. This is where she starts putting everything onto her dashboard and we can really see it come together. Another speed trick here is she's able to uncheck that show title box in the layout pane. So save a right click select on each of these vizzes that she's bringing on.
Why are there two country filters?
Wow, she is finding every single spot to save those clicks. My goodness.
And we are going to be doing a deep dive episode of If Data Could Talk with each contestant to get a lot more details of their build. So keep your eyes on Tableau social feeds for the Iron Viz If Data Could Talk episodes.
All right, let's go check back in with Sam and see how things are going.
For those new to Iron Viz, we let contestants write their text beforehand in Notepad because we've discovered it's not very exciting watching people type during the build process.
And if you notice in that last little bit of text, looks like he's using that as the color legend as well. Some little icon symbols there that he colored, that teal and dark gray. Mm-hmm.
Here we go. It's dashboard time. I'm always intrigued to see what padding value contestants put in for their dashboards. Should it be 5 padding, 5 pixels, 10, 40, 50?
And now that we're getting closer to the build, this is actually really interesting. So Sam is using a new feature here that was released in 2021.2, which is called the hide show container. Basically what it allows you to do is hide and show any element in the dashboard. So that could be a legend, a text, or just a sheet. And in addition to that, now you can also do nested ones. So what you'll see emerge here is almost this building block of different elements that we can slowly reveal over time. So an incredibly useful feature, not only in this build, but worth trying out in your own as well.
I can tell you I've lost track of how many layout containers are on this dashboard. So I hope Sam is in control, because one incorrectly placed chart could be a disaster.
That's exactly what I was looking at. I'm wondering how he's keeping track of where all of those layout containers are.
You know, when I teach people how to build dashboards, and my examples, they're all very simple. It's not because I particularly love simple dashboards. It's my brain can't cope with too much on a dashboard when I build it. That blue really pops out against the black. It's a nice neon color, and the contrast with the magenta or the reddish date label is really sweet. Five minutes left, everybody. 300 seconds and counting. So I can see, Tanu, that Pradeep is doing something that makes me feel comfortable, I would admit. I was a little uncomfortable that all those chart titles were just the name of the chart type, but he's actually added some value and some information in the chart title. Did you think about that a lot?
Yeah, completely. I mean, have you spent 2 days ever thinking through titles? Because that's basically what happened with us. Because we're working with a lot of aggregations, we really wanted to make it the most easy way for someone to understand what was going on. So we contemplated questions, we contemplated what he has here. Again, he ran it by his family. They've been super helpful, try to understand what makes more sense to them. And yeah, this is kind of what he landed up coming up to, which was comfortable to him, plus I think explains what the chart is doing.
Yeah, I think a lot of our audience will have spent a lot of time thinking about titles. There's many ways you can cut them and design them, so it's great to see that highlighted here.
That's it. That's a nice little thing she just did there. I don't know if you guys noticed. She named the images the same name as the button for item show and item hide. I don't know about anybody else, but I often get those mixed up sometimes, which one I want to show where. So having them actually have that label, it's a smart idea. Even more time-saving tips.
Here, Lisa's essentially done. She's just checking through to make sure she didn't mess anything up or forget anything.
So if she's nearly done, she's got a lot of time left over.
Oh, wait. I missed something. I missed an axis. Whew. Almost catastrophic. Okay.
Wow.
Let me not get too comfy yet. Everything looks right.
I do love that color palette. I can't get over it. And again, now on that dark background, it's really popping.
It's like some psychedelic flame.
Yeah.
It's also very similar to the color palette of the official UK chart company in the UK. And I don't know if that was intentional or a happy accident.
Oh.
I think the clue will be in the title, which will only be revealed in the very last second of this build. So you have to wait and see.
Love it. Oh, I can see the image.
So this is where the buttons will come in, which will allow you to hide and collapse the different containers that he has put in.
So whoa, wait a minute. Are we about to see something quite dramatic?
Sit tight.
All the actions are working. I won't play any of the music.
There's your 2-minute warning, everybody.
Yeah.
And what Pradeep is building here is just the sort of hover over information tooltip sheet. Very
Exactly.
nice.
Exactly. So you can see that he has about 3-4 people he's taken inspiration for these vizzers from, including Hisham, including Wendy, and that's basically what he's included here. You'll also see that for the bar chart at the bottom, he did, like I said, there's no text box at all in this dashboard. So at the bar chart on the bottom, he really used captions. So the artist origin that you see sorted alphabetically, he used the worksheet captions because he felt that was the fastest way to get that text up and running.
I think that might be the fastest I've ever done it.
Just 60 seconds left.
Oh my gosh, the blood's pumping.
Oh, look at that. I didn't even notice that there was that web object there. Oh, and wait, now it's gone.
What?
Oh.
And watch it collapse. Yes.
No
Hold
way.
on. Oh.
This is where the hide and show features are showing its true colors.
What? That is amazing.
That is
We're
cool.
done.
Okay.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Finished.
Oh, that's it. Time's up. Hands
Done.
off the keyboard and mouse.
Oh, Keshia, that was exciting.
Absolutely amazing. But I want to know what you at home think. So head over to Twitter and Instagram and let us know. Make sure to use hashtag IronViz.
Yeah, and you know, Keshia, we've got so many members of the community out there watching from home. I am sure they've been going stone cold crazy watching this. I see some of you already have your favorites. That is fantastic.
Voting will be open with the final Viz presentation.
That's right, you'll soon be able to vote for your Iron Viz favorite. But first, the contestants will have the chance to present their Vizes to you and to the judges.
Let's get ready to hear what Pradeep has to say about his Viz.
2 years ago, when the world was more normal, I visited a country where I got a chance to explore a new music culture. It was so fascinating to discover the music culture of a new country and their music preferences. When I received the music dataset, I was curious to explore the music discovery behaviors across the world. For our analysis, we are grouping the artists into 3 broad categories: she, her solo artists, he, him solo artists, and band or group artists. The simple and powerful bar chart at the top shows more than 50% of the global music discoveries are happening around he, him solo artists, which are 2 times more than she, her artists, and 3 times more than band artists. The dandelion chart represents the music discovery by different artist types, and the bar chart at the bottom represents the music discovery by different artist origin. An interesting insight we obtained from this dataset is that more than 80% of the global discoveries are happening around European and North American artists. A small percentage is contributed by artists from other regions. Now, let's explore the artists from Asia Pacific region. It is interesting to see that all types of artists from APAC region are almost equally discovered. From the map, we can see that she, her artists from Asia Pacific are most prevalent in the top charts of European countries. Also, band artists from Asia Pacific are popular in some parts of Latin America and East Asian countries. If we look at this over time, we can see a mix of discoveries across different artist types. From the dot plot, we can see that Sia and Tones I are leading the top charts, followed by BTS. Also, the Vision tooltip shows their top music tracks. Moving on to the European artists, it's a slightly flipped story where we see a big gap between he/him artists and the other 2 artist types. The same is observed in the trend over time. That said, Dua Lipa is a clear outlier with the most occurrences in the top charts. Like the Asian Pacific artists, we can see a mix of music discovery across different artist types for Latin American artists. Like the EU, we can see a similar pattern for artists from Middle East and Africa and North America. Now, let's do something interesting. Being from India, I wish to explore the music discovery behavior in my country. Interestingly, Indians tend to discover more music from Asian Pacific and North American artists. Also, from the dot plot, we can see that they discover more music from Arjit Singh than from Neha Kakkar. The map interactivity allows anyone to explore the music discovery trends in their own country. Finally, analyzing this dataset gave me some wow moments as well as made me realize some bitter truths. Even though some of the sheer artists like Dua Lipa, Sia, and Billie Eilish, to name a few, have made it to the top charts multiple number of times. In the bigger picture, we can see that more number of he/him artists are present in the top charts across the world. This would result in some serious consequence that a greater number of talented artists may even be missed out or underrepresented. Let's take a small step together and make our music discoveries equal across all artist types. I believe music can change the world because it can change people. Thank you.
Okay, next up is Lisa.
The music industry is notoriously difficult to break through. Every day there are artists trying to become the next Ed Sheeran, Taylor Swift, and Beyonce. But the reality is that very few stars actually ever make it to that level of global stardom. And that's why I really wanted to focus on the success stories of those artists who had breakthroughs in this time period. I turned to their chart metric cross-platform performance rank, really just to see which artists pulled themselves from obscurity, so low in the ranks, to the upper echelon of artists in the industry. And there were 3 artists who stood out. The first was Olivia Rodrigo. She's a pop artist and she's featured here in pink. The second was hip-hop artist, the Kid Laroi. He's from Australia. And Giveon, who's an R&B singer. He's here in blue. And I really just wanted to better understand what their journeys to the top looked like through their data. So I first turned to their YouTube channel views just to kind of get an idea of when there might be some pivotal or breakout moments for these artists. And this really gave me a high-level view, but it wasn't as granular as I wanted it to be. So I wanted to focus a lot of my analysis on the Shazam data, which is what's here in the middle. So every day, Shazam tracks the top 200 songs that are Shazammed in cities, countries, and globally. And we're actually going to watch the journeys of our stars play out through their Shazam data. So every time they're hitting it on a Shazam chart. So when I click play, you're going to see that the beginning of 2020 was pretty quiet for our 3 artists. Giveon wasn't on any city or country level Shazam charts. And the Kid Laroi was pretty concentrated to Australia, which makes sense because he's from Australia. And Olivia Rodrigo has some mild success because she was on the High School Musical soundtrack at this time. But in May, Giveon collaborates with Drake, and he's featured on his song Chicago Freestyle. And you can see that he starts to hit in a couple of different cities and countries around the world. And the Kid Laroi, too, is also collaborating with his friend and mentor, Juice WRLD, who was an American hip-hop artist. So he's starting to spread his popularity from just Australia to some other cities around the world. But his real breakthrough comes when he drops his deluxe version of his album that features the song Without You. And that's what you're about to see come on right here. That song is wildly successful and popular, and it's being Shazammed in lots of cities and countries around the world and gets him onto the global level Shazam chart. So if we hop down here to the global chart, this is a unit chart. So every single circle here represents a song that artist had at the global level Shazam chart. And if we hover over this yellow dot, you can see this is his song Without You. If you click on it, you see that it has been on the chart for the entirety of the rest of this data set. And you have the opportunity to play that song so you can hear what the rest of the world was Shazamming at that time. So he's really had his breakout. And we're about to see Olivia Rodrigo break out in spectacular fashion. So she drops her single Driver's License, and then boom, she's everywhere. She's all over cities and country level maps. She comes onto the global stage as well. So if we hop down to this global chart, you can see that Driver's License comes on the chart here. And the second month it's on the chart in February, it's actually ranked #1. So it is the most Shazammed song in the entire world. So she's really had an overnight success with Driver's License, and she's remained on the chart. The last artist we're going to see break out is Giveon, and he has a little bit of an assist from a TikTok user in the Philippines who uploads a video of himself dancing along to Giveon's song Heartbreak Anniversary, which is a year old at this point, I want to add. And the video goes viral. I'm talking dance challenge viral. So as you see, as that video starts to spread across the internet, so does Giveon's popularity around the world. So he's hitting in Shazamming, he's being Shazammed in cities, countries, and globally. You can see him pop onto the global chart down here with Heartbreak Anniversary. And again, the song remains on the chart up until the end of this data set. At this point, all three artists have really made it to that level of global stardom where they are being Shazammed in cities and countries and globally. And no doubt they are inspiring other artists to become the next Giveon, the next Kid Laroi, and the next Olivia Rodrigo.
And now it's time for our final presentation. Here with his viz, it's Sam. Sam, you're up.
Hello everyone, and today I'm going to be talking to you about how new artists are establishing themselves in the top 100 of the chart rankings and how technology is directly impacting their fortunes. Here we are looking at the top 100 artists as at August this year, and we want to particularly focus on these lines flying up from the bottom here. Who are these artists and how are they establishing themselves in that top 100? We can highlight these artists and a few others, and we get 8 different story points here, 8 different artists that we can pick through in our visualization. Each of these 8 artists have breached into the top 100 in the last 2 years. Each of these artists have an initial track driving that surge, and these tracks are represented in these area charts below. These area charts are built with Shazam search data, and the shape of those tracks are built with the number of cities searching for that track at that point in time. So that gives us a sense of the viral nature of that track. If we want to pick into any of these data stories, we can click on a plot. When we click on one of these plots, the 2 reference lines from each chart line up on that date. And now we can clearly see that the Shazam search data is preceding the surge in the rankings on the chart metric rankings. This tells us that Shazam is a good indicator of fan interest and where new artists and new songs are on the rise. Here we are looking at Olivia Rodrigo. She is a Disney Channel star, and we want to understand, why are people having to Shazam her music? Where are they hearing this music worldwide, but crucially not connecting that to her? We can explore this a little bit deeper, looking at regional level, but having different counts of cities in each region, we want to make this equal by looking at a proportional ranking. And we can compare something like Europe for this track, where they have an initial surge in pink here that dies off very quickly, to, say, Latin America, that the initial surge is much higher and they maintain that interest. So from this, we can gather that Latin Americans really connect with this track more than Europeans do. But why are we seeing this surge of interest, this explosion of interest using Shazam on these tracks? Not just this track, but all the others in our story here. What is the driving factor? And it is this: TikTok. TikTok over the last couple of years has exploded. We have been in a global pandemic. We've been in various lockdowns where we've been stuck at home. We can't see our friends and family. TikTok has provided us that avenue to connect with our friends and have fun with them by sharing and trying to recreate these viral dances. But crucially, what is the music that those dances are set to? You're right, it's Olivia Rodrigo and the other artists that are featured here. Let's step through the process. Your friend sends you a TikTok video of them dancing. You listen to the song on that dance and you love it. You don't know who it's by. So where do you go? You have to go to Shazam to find out who that artist and track is. You add that to your streaming app of choice, maybe Spotify or Apple iTunes, and you start listening to that at your leisure. And as you are listening to that, you are streaming it. Those streams are being counted and collected and added to the Billboard rankings. But crucially, and this is the point, you are not the only one doing that at this point in time. Millions of people around the world are doing exactly the same thing with the same track. And before you know it, that song has gone viral. This is the power of technology and TikTok, because that artist becomes a star overnight. Here in this data set and this visualization, we are proving the power of TikTok over the music industry, where if a song hits a viral TikTok video that will propel the artist into the top 100. And this is the influence of tech on music.
Okay, starting right now, the vote by text is open! The US and Canada text voting number is 37607.
The worldwide text voting number is longer. It's +1 747 444 3548.
For Pradeep, text IV Pradeep.
If you think Lisa should win, it's IV Lisa.
And if you're voting for Sam, text your vote for him with IV Sam. Now, standard text messaging rates may apply according to your cellular provider plan.
Poll Everywhere does not charge for text message responses. Audience members outside of Canada and the United States will not incur long-distance texting charges, but other charges may apply.
All of that information about voting will be scrolling across your screen while the voting is open.
Get texting, and now let's hear what the judges have to say about each of the contestants and their vizzes.
So the one reason judging is so hard, particularly for our championship Iron Viz, is that the vizzes are just so tremendous.
I agree, Jock. This is mind-blowing. I don't know how we're going to pick between these. And I have to say, I honestly learned something in each viz.
So, Christian, you've actually been through this. Get us started.
Yeah, I think we'll start with Pradeep's viz. One takeaway for me was that this is a dashboard really for anybody. I think one good way to drive engagement for a visualization is to allow a user to find him or herself in it. And so anybody across the world could click on their country and see what the consumption in terms of gender of music is like. And I thought that was a really good way to potentially drive engagement for the visualization.
I'm curious, did you guys understand how an artist was categorized as being from a country? I just remember we hovered over a couple of artists and I was just curious.
No, did not understand that.
Yeah, it wasn't exactly clear to me. My assumption, Taha, was that was the place of birth, but I could be wrong. It wasn't exactly clear.
So this viz, wow. I mean, it just really told a true story. It was just astounding. That moment when she animates through the map, I mean, kudos.
The combination of animation and narration over the top of that was powerful. And so how Lisa was able to navigate through time and then craft a narrative on top of that with sort of the maps exploding, indicating popularity and virality was really, really powerful and really enjoyable.
Her actual labels on the chart, the font is really small, which is, for me, is slightly difficult to read them. But the thing is, the charts are vibrant. And so I got the basic story without having to know the details of the labeling. Sam's view is a good example of using the interactivity of a layout container to sort of unfold the story.
I really appreciated the way he sort of progressively revealed the story and using those collapsible containers. So he wasn't, as a dashboard consumer, sometimes it's easy to get overwhelmed with where you're supposed to look and how you're supposed to follow the story. So he did a great job using those new features, the collapsible containers, to really walk you through each part of the story. And I thought that was a really cool way to use those features.
I agree, Christian. I thought the buttons were very creative, and I love that it started out with a question, so I felt very guided through this story.
One of the things I am confused about is why the particular set, I think it was 8 artists, why they were chosen, because it looked like there were more lines that were coming up into the top. I didn't get why those particular ones were chosen over other ones that might have been chosen.
Keshia, there's a lot of tough deliberations going on. Don't forget, everybody, text your vote to the numbers on the screen right now.
To vote for Pradeep, text IV Pradeep. And if you're voting for Lisa, vote IV Lisa. And you can vote for Sam with IV Sam. Now, everyone, make sure to vote and do it now. Hurry up, because the voting ends in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Ah, that's it. It's time to tally up the final votes. Okay, well, now it is my pleasure to be joined by Larissa Amoroso, who is the new head of community here at Tableau. Larissa, welcome to Iron Viz. How are you feeling?
Thank you, Andy. I am so delighted to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
It is great to have you with us. Now, this is not your first job at Tableau, is it? Running the community. You've been here a while. So tell us, where have you been behind the scenes and what has made you make this jump over to community?
Well, I've been with Tableau for just about 8 years. I've been involved in many different facets of our efforts here at Tableau. But one thing has always held constant for me, and that's thinking about how we can bring the voice of the customers and our community central to everything that we do. The community, in my opinion, is really the heart and the soul of Tableau. It's been a passion area of mine since day one, and something that I've always wanted to be closer to. And so here I am.
Here you are, head of community. We've got this big history of community. Hopefully people watching this have been inspired about Iron Viz and are learning a lot about the Tableau community. If they come away from this thinking, I want more, what is the top 1 or 2 or 3 things they can do to start that journey?
Ooh, I would say join a user group, get to know others within the community, participate in the forums, the amount of conversation that happens there and help and support, or just even on Twitter, if you prefer to kind of keep within your own channels, join the Data Fam conversations on Twitter.
It sounds like an absolute great set of call to actions, user groups, forums, social media. It's all happening out there with our Data Fam. So that's great. Well, Larissa, that is the end of our time together. Thank you so much for joining us today. And let's get back to the show.
I knew 2021 was going to be a special year.
Truly, truly, truly. An incredible year and an incredible example of Tableau being used by some of its finest practitioners.
And it looks like the judges have decided.
Yeah, and so have you, the members of the community who've cast your vote.
So, let's find out who the winner is.
Okay, in third place, receiving $2,000 in prize money and a $1,000 donation to the charity of their choice, it's Pradeep. Stunning finish, excellent presentation.
Okay, that leaves Lisa and Sam. One of you will be winning this year's 2021 Iron Viz Championship. Now, in second place, ready to take home $5,000 and another $2,000 going to their charity, it's Sam. Congratulations, that means Lisa, you are the 2021 Iron Viz Champion. You're taking home the top prize of $10,000 and $5,000 is going to your charity. How does it feel?
Oh my gosh, it's hard. It's going to take a while for this to sink in, but I want to thank my husband. He has been so supportive and encouraging throughout this whole journey. I want to thank Esther, my sous visor. She was amazing. She gave such great feedback and was just a real fun person to work with. I have to thank the Tableau community. I have to thank the Data Fam because they continue to inspire me every single day with everything that they put out there. A special shout out to Sarah Bartlett, because without her blog post about why everyone should enter Iron Viz, I never even would have entered a feeder competition. So thank you, Sarah. And thank you, Tableau. Thank you so much for this platform to just be creative and have fun with data. So thank you so much. I'm so appreciative.
Well, that's it for Iron Viz 2021. Thank you to our judges. Thank you to our sous visors and our contestants for a dazzling data display. And to over 300 contestants from around the world. Here's hoping we'll see 3 more of you for next year's showdown.
And thanks to our diamond partners, Snowflake, Slalom, and Interworks for their help making this event happen.
And don't forget to check all the vizzes which are available on Tableau Public.
And tune in to Andy's podcast, Chart Chat, and If Data Could Talk, and follow him on Twitter at @Cotgreave.
You can follow Keshia too on Twitter at KRoseKeshia. And be sure to check out her blog, sliceofquiche.com.
So long, everybody. See you next year.
And always remember, let your viz roar.